And the CASA special audit conducted on Pell Air, when did you ask for that?
In a previous submission.
Yeah, but if you could find it, Mr. Sangston, that
Was
would
it
be very
around?
helpful.
A short while before you concluded your report, as I recall.
It was at a late stage in the process, Senator, yes.
Okay,
I can get you the exact
It
date.
was a late stage in the process. Can I suggest to you the only reason you asked for that report, that CASA special audit, which wasn't provided to you by CASA, was as a result of Mr. James's lawyers contacting you, Mr. Sangston, saying, we understand there's a special audit and we'd like to get a copy of it.
I'm sorry, Senator, I was just looking at...
Sorry, my understanding is that that it took Mr. James's lawyers as late as the 3rd of July 2012. They wrote to you saying, we understand there's a special audit, we'd like to get a copy of that special audit. And until that time you had no awareness of the existence of that special audit.
No, I don't think that's true, Mr. Sangston. I wish to disagree with me, Senator.
Or that you thought it wasn't relevant to provide to Mr. James as a directly interested party.
Just to
What-
clarify, as I understand it, there was a press release in 2009 from CASA saying they were going to have the audit. So the world knew about it.
We were aware, Senator, that CASA was undertaking a special audit.
And when did you get a copy of that?
As I say, Senator, it was very late in the process.
After the 3rd of July 2012?
Yes, Senator, I believe it was in late July or was it early August and mid-July?
Hang on, so you're aware that CASA had conducted a special audit, but you didn't think it was relevant to your investigations to get a copy of that special audit into Pell Air?
We were happy, Senator, that our investigations were covering the territory we needed to cover in understanding
So I
facts.
say that again, I couldn't hear you.
We were happy, Senator, that our investigation was covering the relevant territory. On analysing the special investigation, the special audit report, and I believe we've supplied a table reflecting this to the committee, we satisfied ourselves that the major lines of inquiry that had been undertaken through the special audit were ones that we had also turned our minds to.
But how do you know without seeing the document? How would you know that? How would you know that? How would you know that you are satisfied of a particular line of inquiry when you haven't even seen the report?
Because
You're aware of the report, you didn't bother to ask for it. Don't you consider that
we don't, as a matter of routine, Senator, seek special audits. Special audits are for the purpose of CASA's regulatory activities. We try and keep our investigations as much as we can separate from what CASA has to do. And so it's not as a matter of default that we would see and try to rely on CASA regulatory investigations as the basis for our work.
But in the context of the Memorandum of Understanding about the exchange of information between the two agencies, in the context of this investigation, in the context of Mr McCormick expressing his views that they've changed their rhetoric and seem to be hardening their view, and concerns within your organisation about egg on ATSB's face and CASA's face, you didn't think it relevant at all to obtain a copy of a CASA special audit into Pell Air, the very airline that was involved in this incident. I just don't get it. How can you explain it to to use Senator Hefferna's terminology, the reasonable man, the reasonable person at the back of the room? What's gone wrong here that you didn't get the CASA special audit?
As I said, Senator, we don't, as a matter of routine, seek special audits. CASA undertakes special audits for their purposes. We undertake investigations for our purposes. There are times when it may be helpful to us to take a look at what CASA has been doing, but it's not something we would consider as a matter of default.
What a terribly glib answer, Mr. Dolan. You're investigating an accident. 6 people could have died. Well, you didn't see the relevance of getting the special audit. this is not a routine matter. You actually, in the midst of an investigation, and you hand out, you deliver a report nearly 3 years after the event that can't, on any reasonable standard, comply with ICAO Annex 13. I mean, there are reports around from Nigeria, Lebanon, from countries that could be seen as developing countries that comply with ICAO Annex 13. Do you consider you've complied with ICAO Annex 13 with this report?
Yes, Senator.
I note, bearing in mind time, I would have come to that issue of Annex 13. I note that in your submission you highlight that you have requested a number of exemptions or notified departures from that in a number of areas. My comment would be that I think if those departures have resulted in this report, then they should be re-examined because they're clearly, in terms of the information flow from CASA to yourselves around the role of the regulator and the operator as well as the individual, all the other issues like fatigue that roll into that, there were clearly a number of contributing factors that were not considered in any thorough way in the report, that I think those exemptions should perhaps be revisited because they don't meet the test, as Senator Heffernan would say, of the reasonable man at the back of the room.
I hear what you're saying, Senator, and the only comment I feel I should make in that case is I would disagree with you on that there were significant contributing factors that existed and we did not detect and include in our report. But we have different opinions on that, clearly.
Thank you, Chair.
All right.